Welcome to a special episode of Getting to the Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee, and this is on MTR Podcast. Today's guest, I have two guests today. I have, I'm going to call you Alpha. That's how you came to me. So I have Alpha from the Hot Sauce Artist Collective, and I have visual arts curator for the Creative Alliance, Thomas James. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Good to be here.
So I'll start throwing out questions, and we can just kind of go back and forth off of them. So the kind of that starter introductory question is usually describe your work. Let's get into it. Alpha, describe your work. What are your disciplines? What's your work like?
Okay, so I am primarily a painter and a printmaker, but right now I am exploring drawings with charcoal and pastel. So I make large, life-size drawings of like just Black people, just showing the Black beauty because, a lot of times what is highlighted in the media is just like our plight, our struggle, like things that we go through, our pain. And sometimes it's very hard for me to just keep watching that. So instead of just being mad about it, I just want to make beautiful things so Black people can have something. And I know we already have that. It's just putting that on a bigger stage and on a bigger platform. Yeah, that's what my art is about. That's
fantastic. It's good to have that, because I think like it's being covered, it's being touched, but having more of it is never a bad thing, and just having your unique slice to it just adds to it. Yep. So Thomas, could you describe your work a bit?
Sure. So my practice as a curator is to create exhibitions and facilitate conversations and events and writing and language that sparks specific ideas, sparks conversations. It's my job to put artists in the forefront of the arts consumers, artists that deserve a chance to be there, and artists that have something to say. So so my job essentially is just to facilitate all of that in different capacities. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I've improved my level of like ignorance around like what a curator does over the last few weeks. I've had a few people who are curators. I was like, all right, what's that Webster's definition real quick? Let's get into this a little bit. And it's good to just have people out there that are like looking for artists and helping them along that path to just get them in front of the right people and just put them in the best position possible. So in both of you, feel free to chime in on this. What do you feel is integral to your work, either as an artist or working with artists?
That's a great question. For me, it's really about having a specific intention when you do events, when you put together art exhibitions, when you critique artists, like there's a certain level, especially when let me speak specifically, when you're working with living artists. And for Alpha and myself, for the most part, we're working with emerging artists. So when you're working with that population, it's very important to make sure that you are you're more than dedicated to just putting out who's hot or just doing something just to make money from it or just to get social capital or clout. It really is about it's really about artist development, as well as exposing the community to important ideas and innovations that artists bring, as well as other curators and other critics and journalists within the arts, because everyone has a different perspective and a different point of view, and it helps to push conversations forward. Art imitates life, so everything that artists have to say, as well as everyone else surrounding the arts, normally is to push a higher level of thinking and things of that nature. So making sure that at least for me, making sure that we have the right intentions when we go when we go into these things. So not doing things just to pander to anybody, or not doing things just to satisfy a quota, or to outwardly show the public, hey, look at me, this is what we're doing. We're so this, or we're so that. It's really about having that intention, which essentially kind of boils down to, to being equitable and being authentic.
I dig that. Like it's going to, at least the way that I'm hearing it, it's like you have a brand as to, or an intention. You have a brand and an intention as to what do you want to accomplish here and why do you want to do it? And I see just being a podcaster and doing something like this, which is a relatively new venture. Like I've been podcasting for 12 years and this is a newer venture for me. This is like going into the third season, but like probably the second year of me doing it. And I have so many people hit me up. Hey, I want to be on. I see that you had this person on and so on. And I'm like, this might not be the right time. Like this may not fall within what I'm trying to accomplish here. So I definitely pick up what you're putting down. Alpha, did you have any feedback on that, or any answers to that? What's integral to your work as an artist?
Yeah, definitely. So as an artist, it's just my intention personally. What I'm trying to say. I'm honest to my craft, and as a curator, which is something I just started doing with Hot Sauce, is just like Thomas says, is working with people who are genuine people, and also not just pandering to like hype stuff. Like for me, if I work with you, I feel like if you're a humble person, and I'm not trying to like put anyone in a box or whatever, I try not to work with someone who has like ego, because in the art, everyone feel like they're someone and they're in a certain space. So for me, it's just like working with people who think just like me, who's all about the art and the community and just bringing people together, and not about, oh, I'm this person, I'm big and I should be doing this. Yeah.
That's good. What do you wish to accomplish with your art ultimately?
Man, that is such a great answer, bro. Question, bro. Honestly, bro, I just want to make history. For me personally, I went to Towson University and I had to take a lot of art history courses, and there weren't a lot of people that look like me in those art history courses. And for a while I struggle as an artist, because I'm like, bro, I don't know what to do. It's either I do something that looks like what it's not me, or I have to just learn this stuff for myself. But luckily, I had an art history teacher my senior year at Towson, where he was just exposing us to like Black artists and people from Baltimore. And then I had a talk with Erin Fostel, even though she's not Black, but she started like putting me on to like different. It's Erin Fostel. I keep saying her name wrong, but she started putting me on to different Black artists here in the city. So just learning about those history, especially the history about Baltimore, just made me grow as an artist. So just being able to be artist that young up and coming artists can look up to is something I desire to do as an artist. Yeah, that's
great. Thomas, so for you, is there anything at the end of the day or in the next like 5-10 years that you want to accomplish with your role in the arts community?
100%. I mean, every time we put on an exhibition or do an event or anything like that, I try to do it to the best of my ability, and get the most out of myself as well as the artist and everyone else that's involved. So at the end of the day, we're trying to make history as far as good quality product, things that people are going to remember, things that stick with people, and and then hopefully anything that I do is a springboard for the artist that I'm working with or myself, in a way of, kind of getting our message or getting our point of view, getting that out there to more and more people, because it's very important. Like as Black artists in the world and Black artists in Baltimore specifically, our voices need to be heard. our perspectives need to be seen and understood, especially now, so kind of like that's kind of the goal every time we go out and we do these kind of things. And so moving forward, 5-10 years from now, I'm hoping that everything that we set in motion right now just keeps growing and growing. And even if that doesn't look like, even if it doesn't look bigger and bigger, we want it to be more impactful. We want it to be more insightful. We want more people to see it. We want to develop more artists and a wider audience of people. So, that's kind of the main goal out there, is just to keep growing.
So could we call it like stick to your ribs art? I mean, that's what I was hearing. Like, just, ultimately something that's substantive. Like, I want this to have an impact, not just something that's disposable, not something that's just fleeting and short term, but something that matters and means something and contributes to potentially the future. And I think that's a big goal and an important goal. So I like to hear that. Let's shift the conversation a little bit to Baltimore, the city that we are in. So let's see. So Alpha, what is your favorite place? You were talking a little bit earlier, like you like to just travel a little bit before we got the recording on. But what is your favorite place to recharge in Baltimore, or your favorite places to be in Baltimore?
Man, that is a hard question, because when I first moved here in Baltimore, like I was telling you before, I will just get on the metro, go places, and oftentimes I'll get lost. So I'll have to get on my penny board. So I have a penny board and just skate throughout like different neighborhoods. So just learning about the neighborhood with like graffiti and like murals and stuff by Ernest Shaw. All of those places just recharge me. But my favorite place to go, honestly, is just downtown. Just skating over there is kind of, there's a lot of people over there. So like over there by Pennsylvania Avenue, there's a lot of people over there. There's a lot of like graffiti work. There's a lot of murals and stuff. So being able to see people interacting with other people, it just recharged me as an artist. Yeah.
That's had to be a little bit more challenging with the last 8 months of nonsense. Yeah. So have you? But because I've seen that that Hot Sauce has done some things over there, and that's in like that West Baltimore footprint, and doing some of those kind of outside exhibits. That's been really, really cool. So Thomas, what is your like favorite place to either elicit like inspiration from or to recharge that's in Baltimore?
That's a good question. My favorite place is probably so right now I live in Bel Air Edison. So I was so probably Herring Run, the park, is probably like my favorite place right now. That's where I go to exercise or to go for like morning walks. It's getting kind of difficult now because it's so cold. But yeah, I mean, that's probably my favorite place as far as like recharge. And then other than that, is, to be honest, is artist studios and different galleries. So, if we're that could be Creative Alliance if I'm installing a show, or if I need to get some inspiration, that could be UB Blake if we're doing the same thing, if I want to, see the work that we're doing, or it could be Gallery Matisse or Catalyst Contemporary or Waller Gallery, or any of these other art spaces that I can go in and really appreciate the work of these artists, appreciate the work of these curators, like any of those art spaces, and like I said, the artist studios, because anytime I step in an artist studio, I expect to have a good conversation. I expect to learn about their work. I expect to give them feedback, and then, but just because that puts me in a separate, and, I go into a different zone, when we're talking about their art or what I do and vice versa, whatever, we start to talk about, how to better understand ourselves and what we're doing. So, I always leave, studio visits and things like that. Normally I always leave in a better headspace than, whenever I walked in there.
Yeah, it's good to see somebody in their environment. I know, speaking with Kirk from Bopa, they did this recent event where they were checking out different artists' space, their studios and such. And I just thought that was a really like neat idea, just to see the person in their element. And I think when you're in your creative space, like where I'm recording at right now is my creative space, and I elicit a lot of energy from it. And due to necessity, it's now become like my workspace because of my day job. And that combination is it's a little challenging sometimes, where you're between like this creative stuff where you're dig and you get this passion from, and then I feel it's like encroached upon by the work life situation. But definitely seeing an artist at their element, in their element, I know that for me, I'm in like supreme confidence when I'm like in the right space and in my like recording space and in my creative space. So that sounds good. So Alpha, could you complete this sentence? This is one of the questions that I had on here for Baltimore as well. Baltimore is. Can you finish this sentence for me?
Baltimore is alive. Baltimore is alive with music, art, business. Like, Baltimore is alive. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thomas, how about yourself?
Baltimore is.
Yeah.
Baltimore is Black. Baltimore is one of the premier Black art scenes in the country right now. There's so much Black art to appreciate, from the museums to the galleries to the nonprofit spaces. And people are connected through culture, very much so here. So I think that, like I said, the Baltimore art scene definitely has something to say.
Great. I have like maybe 3 more questions, and I'll give you guys the rest of your evening back. And I'll start off with you on this one, Thomas. What are some projects that you've organized or that are coming up that you're really excited about?
For sure. So I'll let Alpha talk about the big reason why we're here today. So maybe
that was a softball, by the way.
So, I want Alpha to take this one first. I want you to go first, Alpha.
Okay, cool. So we're here today, just to talk about something that Hot Sauce is doing, and we have partnered with Thomas and the amazing people at UV Blake to just round off the year with something positive. So Hot Sauce, if you don't know, Hot Sauce has been doing like this outdoor pop-up shows, bringing like art and the gallery experience to like different neighborhoods in Baltimore City. So the 10 artists that we have worked with, we're bringing them into a gallery space, which is UV Blake. And UV Blake is a beautiful place, by the way, if you haven't seen the inside. And just allowing those artists to, showcase their work and have it up for, longer than just 2 hours or 3 hours. So that's exactly what we're doing. And that's the show that's coming up. It's actually 2 shows because UV Blake have 2 galleries. So in the first gallery, we're going to have the first show called Hot on the Block, and that's having all of the 10 artists showcasing our work. And then the second show is called Welcome to the Sauce, and that's just showing all of the Hot Sauce members' artwork, because, we're all artists too. So, yeah, that's what we're here today.
That is fantastic. It's great to hear about that. Definitely something that I'm going to be coming out to, because I'm always over there, and it's a very like fatty kind of thing, but I'm always over there in that area to go to previous guests, Aunt Kelly's Cookies, which is right down that same block. So, it's a 2-for-1 thing. It's like, check out what you guys are doing and get myself some butter crunch. It's a win-win for me.
Definitely.
And right around there is a Refocus Vegan. I don't know if you ever checked that out, but that place has some amazing vegan food, fries, like all. I love the fries, but that's like chicken.
I'll add it to the list.
Not real chicken, but yeah. Just to kind of piggyback off of Alpha, what Hot Sauce was able to accomplish in the months of August and October was really giving people a safe outlet to enjoy art. That's something that we have been missing for some months. And, and they were really able to get a great response from the community, not only the community of artists that we're connected to, but also, like you said, bringing to different neighborhoods and bringing the surrounding areas, bringing them out to enjoy the work. And so those exhibitions are going to open November 28th. And there's on opening day, you're going to be able to come in from 12 to 5 p.m. And we're going to stagger it because of COVID. So it's going to be, probably like 10 to 15 people at a time in the space so that you can safely view the artwork. And it'll be on display through January. I think it's on display through January 16th. So you'll have opportunities throughout the week. And like I said, every Saturday for sure from noon to 5 that you can come out and check out the show. So I mean that's what we're really excited about.
That's an amazing way to wrap up this 2020 with some just a great plan and a great project that seems like you've all worked together to put out there. And big ups to you, Alpha, and the team for working together to get this together.
Yeah, thank you. We have this idea, and just to do something positive in COVID. So yeah, and special shout out to Boba, because without a vision, when you have a vision without money, it's just a vision. So shout out to Boba for providing some funds, and special shout out to B Willow. There are amazing people over there too. They sponsor us with like free plants and stuff like that. So yeah.
Fantastic. Also, friends of the podcast, had Liz on a few weeks back. So yeah, definitely friends of what we're doing over here. And I'm glad that just this network, as you talked about a little bit earlier, before we started, Alpha, that it's just everyone's connected and people work together and they help people along. So I guess my last question would be, and then I'll give you both an opportunity to further shamelessly plug anything that you have outside of the event, or plug the event again, and your social media and all of that stuff. This one is the last Baltimore question. This will be the last question of the day. So, let's take out COVID. Let's just say once we're back into kind of some degree of normalcy, someone is like, yo, I'm coming to Baltimore for the weekend. What do you think that they have to do if they're here for a long 3-day weekend? What do you tell them they have to do when they get to Baltimore? So feel free, Thomas, you could start off with this one.
Cool. What I would tell them that they have to do is they have to put at least 3 restaurants on their list to go check out. Baltimore has an amazing selection of food, especially with the Black-owned, with the Black-owned restaurants. I mean, you can hit up your Shirley's for breakfast, hit up Our House and some of the Black vendors in there for lunch, and then hit up Refocus Vegan for dinner. You got to do that, and then you have to you got to set aside some time to hit up some of these galleries. I do it myself. I'll have art days. That's what I call them. And when I'll pick out 3 or 4 shows to go see, whether that's the BMA, Creative Alliance, UB Blake, who else got shows up right now? Carroll Mansion. Just like setting aside time. I say food and art is definitely something that you got to do when you come to Baltimore.
That's a great combination right there, actually.
I know. I want to do it. I'm thinking about it now. What am I going to do on my next day?
I used to joke about it with my girlfriend. I would call them our European weekends, where we would just drink wine and just go to different places, just check out different exhibits in different places. So I was like, to the BMA, we'll go and pass the rosé first. That's how we go. So Alpha, how about yourself?
Man, that's crazy Thomas said that, because that's exactly what I'm thinking too. I actually have friends who comes from D.C., the PG D.C. area, and I have friends from New Jersey who come to visit me, and every time they come to visit me, we do the same thing. We get some food and we hit out certain spots. So whether it's Creative Alliance, UV Blake, Current Space. The list is so long, I can't even list everywhere. There's so many amazing galleries here in the city. There is no way you cannot hit up, art spot, And even like with music, you have like Brandon Woody doing some amazing stuff for like jazz and stuff like that. So there's so much to do in the city. Like I said, Baltimore is alive, so yeah.
Well, that's great. And I'll give both of you an opportunity to plug whatever you want. Thank you again. This has been a treat for me. I get to learn about something I'm going to be doing to wrap up my year. So social media and anything that you guys want to plug real quick, and then we'll peace out for the evening.
Awesome. Well, first, I want to thank you, Rob, for having us on here. We are very thankful that you're allowing us to utilize your platform to talk about ourselves, what we got going on, and then shamelessly plug. So let the shamelessly plugging begin. So right now, the all street artists, if you do street art, if you do graffiti, the B&O Railroad Museum. I'm a part of this project. We have a competition going on for street artists that over the summer you'll be able to, if you win the competition, you'll be able to create a mural on one of their street cars, or train cars, I should say. So it's going to be a ton of fun. It's a great opportunity for artists, paid. It's not just anything for free. So I would say check out B&O Railroad Museum on Instagram, and check out their website for more information. But all street artists, graffiti artists, definitely check that out. And then Creative Alliance, we have a show opening February 6th. It's called Bright. It's 10 Black American artists, and it's going to be all about shifting the narrative when it comes to telling our stories. So that's February 6th. At Creative Alliance.
That's great. Thank you. Alpha?
Yeah, so for me, you can keep your eye out for just more Hot Sauce event. If you want to check out our Instagram, it is hot_sauce art on Instagram. And you can just check out my personal Instagram too, because I usually post a lot of hot sauce related stuff on there too. And that is art_nerd19. Do not judge. I made this when I was in high school and I haven't changed it. And finally, hot sauce. We have something very amazing being planned here in the city. It's called BMO Connect. We're thinking about creating like a residencies for like Baltimore-based artists and other artists across like the world, just so Baltimore can connect with other places, because Baltimore is a beautiful art hub, so people can learn about Baltimore, whether it's people in Brazil, people in England, people in Germany can learn about Baltimore and Baltimore rich culture, and Baltimore can also learn about those art spaces too. So that's something you guys should keep your eye out for in March, I believe, February and March. So hot sauce, definitely.
Well, this has been great. Sorry, Thomas, you have anything else?
I was saying, don't forget, November 28th. That's when Hot on the Block and Welcome to the Sauce opens at UB Blake, and it's going to be open from 12 to 5. Oh, and also my Instagram is thomasjames.dc.
Yep, November 28th, do not forget.
November 28th, pull up. So there you have it. I want to thank both of you again for coming on. This has been a treat. And this is Rob Lee for Alpha and my man Thomas saying that there's art in and around Baltimore. You just have to look for it.